I'm interested in and have been always in raising the leaders of tomorrow, citizens who are well-rounded. And I'm really looking for my students and my daughters to have gratitude, because when you appreciate what you have, you are able to draw more positives into your life. So one of the things that my students do is keep a gratitude journal. So at the end of each school day, they started off writing, now they do it on their computers, but they kept a gratitude journal and they simply wrote 5 things at the end of each day that they were thankful for. Because you start to notice things, and all of a sudden that cup is not half empty, it's half full. And when you concentrate on positive, that's what you get more of. And I want that for them. And I thought, you know, when you're young, go Sierra and Lauren, you'll notice the things that you do now that become habits, you will retain for the rest of your adult life. I also wanted them to be thinkers. I didn't want them to simply regurgitate what they heard others say, but to be able to discern through their own lists of what's appropriate and what's not, what's right and what's not, so that they can think for themselves. It was also important to me that they be self-taught. I know when I went to college, I didn't have the skills that I wanted, or I even thought I needed. And it wasn't until I struggled in my first couple of years that I realized I didn't really know how to learn. So our program, the one that I chose, teaches the students how to teach themselves. And we go through a series of different, some of them are on DVD, some of them are done over the computer, where they learn how to speed read, how to use their memory efficiently, how to take tests, because you study differently for essay question tests than you do for fill in the blank. Well, as adults we know that. I wanted the students to be self-confident as well. And they need to have success, and when you have success, you can build on that success. And when you believe you can, you can. I have had the opportunity the last couple of years to mentor, which is really to be the person who grades the papers and tracks and moves students through their academics. And it's very interesting to me is I'll get students work in, and I can tell without ever meeting that student how they feel about themselves and how they feel about their academics. A student who believes they're smart keeps digging until they find the right answer. A student who has either not been successful in school or struggles gives up the minute it gets difficult. And so I don't want that for my kids. I want them to learn how to do it correctly. They also need to be self-disciplined. I'll speak more about that as the program continues, but I want my daughters and I want my students to take ownership of their learning. Specific things that I have done over the last couple of years that have really helped with that and have allowed the students to own their work. One of the things that we do is every Monday morning we have a big meeting and we talk about what's going on. And if a student has a dentist appointment that week, they're still responsible for their lessons. And so the idea is then, well, how are you going to fit everything in if you're going to be gone Wednesday afternoon? And they would come back to me before lunchtime with their plan. Now, I didn't judge their plans. I simply kept their plans for them and held them accountable to them, because they learned sometimes their plans were not very good. That's okay to learn when you're in 6th or 7th grade. And as they matured and as this process continued, the other students were able to help them evaluate their plans. So it became a very cooperative group. And finally, I want them to be successful. What I'm sure Sierra and Lauren know, that it's just this much effort between getting a C and getting an A computer. Students that go into college unprepared, that are not able to use that laptop as the tool it was intended to, but are still being held hostage by it, are at a huge disadvantage. I don't want my students to arrive with a dull axe. I want them to arrive with a very sharpened axe so they're ready to sort of take over what needs to